So today we will continue our wave guide. So in ray optics picture, we have discussed 1D waveguide and a bit of discussion about how to proceed 2D waveguide. By decomposing 2D waveguide, you can decompose into 3 different zones, and for specific case, special cases, you can solve the guided modes, number of guided modes, single mode condition, etc. You can actually find that concept is clear. And as I said, that there, whatever we come to know from that, particularly design parameter as far as your single mode condition, etc. They are very good. They so good matching with the experimental results. However, many aspects of 2D optical waveguide cannot be understood completely using that ray optics picture. We may have to solve directly from the Maxwell's equation. So we will try to give some example that how that can be useful and how that can be used to find some kind of semi-analytical formulation for understanding the optical waveguiding. Okay, that is our objective. So if you see that, let us consider that we are still sticking with 1D waveguide with coordinate system. Maybe you can just define like this. That is actually Z direction, and this is actually Y direction, and this is your X direction. So Y is out of the screen, and then you can consider, and here suppose this is your lower region, this region we are considering lower cladding with a refractive index NS. So I'm now using different symbol instead of N1, N2, N3. I'm trying to use some subscript which actually signify material. That means it is a substrate. That's why we consider NS in general. Normally, most of the textbook also, when they are using Maxwell's equation to understand optical waveguide, they use this type of symbol. Okay, and then you can think of that. Okay, there is a core material. Okay, this is your core that is actually called NF. It's a F stands for film, thin film. That is actually the core region we can consider here. And then on the top, you can have another material cladding that can be considered as a NC, then cover. So C for cover. So C for cover, A for film, and S for substrate. So this is the three material systems. If we just consider, suppose it is extended, infinitely extended, maybe along Z axis and Y axis, and it's stacked along X direction, then we can say that this is the region. This can be considered core, and where light can be confined in X direction. So as usual, we can say that this NF must be greater than NS, and typically NS greater than or equal to NC. So this is the condition for guiding thickness, guiding 1D waveguide, and this is your X equal to 0, and this coordinate you can consider as usual, maybe D or T or whatever you can get. Okay. Now I would like to see whether we can directly solve guided modes from Maxwell's equation. That is our goal. Okay. So if we start our Maxwell's equation, you know that the Carl equation, Carl of E equal to, say, minus del B del T, or you can simply write minus mu 0 mu r, so on, etc. You can write mu 0 mu r and del H del T. Okay, this is one equation. We can say that, okay, this maybe we can write for the moment 1A, and another Carl equation we know that Carl of say, you can write something like this, Carl of B or Carl of H, just mu multiplied here, because here B, if I write here also, it would be good to write B, and then you can write mu 0 del D del T and that also can be written as mu 0 epsilon 0 epsilon r del E, of course vector del E del T. Okay, and this can be written as 1b, and then you know that other two equations, divergence equation, that will be actually equal to 0. Okay, and that can be again written as divergence of epsilon 0 epsilon r E equal to 0, that is actually 1c. And then one more equation, divergence of P, that is actually equal to also 0, can be written as divergence of mu 0 mu r h, that is actually equal to 0. So you can write 1d. You just note, if you just see all these equations carefully, you can notice that I have taken mu r, that is a material property, that can be 1 if it is a non-magnetic material, that is fine, but I could easily take out from the derivative, assuming that this mu r is time independent. Similarly, epsilon r I have taken out from D, epsilon 0 epsilon r taken out from time dependent derivative, partial derivative, assuming that they are time independent, they are fixed. If they are time dependent, then you cannot do that. This Maxwell's equation directly, you cannot do that. So they are somehow static, but they can be function of space coordinate x, y, z. So that is the reason I cannot easily take out this epsilon r out of this divergence, because I know that this one is nothing but ax del del x plus ay del del y plus az del del z, right? So that is actually, we know that means you have a x directional derivative is there, partial derivative, y directional partial derivative, and divergence D means you can imagine that you are taking derivative and other vector. So accordingly whatever comes. So it is not so good idea, not at all good idea, epsilon r to take out of the divergence, because that can be varying as a space. But question is that if you are just thinking about only core, then epsilon r is square root of epsilon r equal to your NF. And if you are just considering only the substrate region, then square root of epsilon r equal to NS. And if you are only considering cladding region, say I can write maybe epsilon RF, epsilon RS, epsilon RC, that will be actually NC. So if I restrict ourselves, our solution, only core or only cladding or only substrate, then probably I can take this epsilon r mu r out of the things, this divergence, whatever the del. You all agree with me, right? But thing is that you cannot take it out if your this core region has some kind of space dependent refractive index change, some kind of gradation is there, some dopant is there, so that you see that some kind of refractive index is not really constant within the core, or even in the cladding may be not constant. So in that case, you cannot use this thing epsilon r mu r outside. Moreover, we understand that for a guided mode, you know that from our ray optics picture, the guided mode for a particular distribution, it is not only restricted, the field not only restricted in the core region, it can extend both sides. Okay, so that means as far as this mode distribution, field distribution concerned, you have to deal this 3-layer medium, and you have to somehow find what is a boundary condition, etc. That is the reason if I am talking about just substrate region, I will be putting NS, epsilon s, and accordingly whatever the divergence value you can consider. Core region, it can be different. So and cladding region, the cover region also will be different. So that is the reason, because waveguide does not mean only core or only cladding. It is actually a composite system, lower cladding, core, and then upper cladding. The composite system as a whole, you cannot think that is a homogeneous medium. So that is the reason better to put epsilon r, mu r same. Of course, if the entire system eventually, most of the optical system, optical waveguide, if you solve, they are actually mu r equal to say non-magnetic material, so 1. Okay, so in that case, you don't need to worry much about mu r, because most of the optical waveguide we design just considering that different dielectric constant or refractive index. So mu r, you don't need to worry about that. So once you consider mu r equal to 1, this mu 0 can be taken out this side. That's good enough here. Here you can consider. Epsilon 0 can be taken out, but epsilon r cannot be. Any question till now? No. So then let us move to our, so one more thing I should mention that actually you can use this entire, these 4 equations, particularly this 2 curl equation, you can directly solve. If you know this is a function of mu r is 1, that is 1, and epsilon r is a function of x, y, z, or so on. If that information you know, then it is just a differential equation. If you see equation 1a and 1b, they are just simply differential equation. So and they are also known as, I think, point form of Maxwell's equation. Point form. There are 2 different types of Maxwell's equations we write down, right? One is point form, another is integral form. So I think some of the electromagnetics book, if you have seen, they represent like a integration. That means that's just a global effect they include. But in this case, we consider the point form. Point form means if I just consider a particular coordinate x, y, z, and at a particular instant, then that particular point, if I solve this equation 1a and 1b, I'll be able to find out what is the value of E and what is the value of H at that particular point, at that particular instant, right? And E field, H field, we can also solve in terms of say so-called components. We can just decompose into Ex, Ey, and Ez, Hx, Hy, Hz, or Bx, By, Bz, so on. You can solve all the 6 components. So there are vector equation. You can decompose into 6 different direction, and you can find out the scalar components, and you can directly solve what is the value of electric field and magnetic field, and at particular position x, y, z, and t. Okay, at particular instant. So that method actually is a so far most accurate, but it is a numerical solution. You have to just develop some kind of algorithm, and you have to solve that. Just only your epsilon r has to be x, y, z dependent. Of course, you can consider also time dependent also, as long as you are just including inside the del t term. Okay, epsilon r, x, y, z, these things are there, and you need to develop directly point by point. You can actually solve, and you can develop the algorithm, and time dependent variation also you can directly get. You don't need to bother about what is the frequency, etc. So any electric field fluctuation from the source, if it is just electric field, maybe if you were just considering as a function of time, electromagnetic field is generating something like with this type of signal, for example. This is the amplitude. So this is your source. Use this type of source, and then you can use your material property like this, and then you can just, as a function of time variations, you can see how this signal is propagating in space, as well as how it is changing as a function of time. So there are well-known method called Ease algorithm. Ease algorithm developed, and in another, it is actually, Ease algorithm is nothing but based on so-called FDTD, finite difference time domain. Finite difference time domain. That FDTD method you have to use. Sorry for this. Just 1 minute, hold on. Okay, so FDTD method is used directly. You can solve Maxwell's equation and you can find what is the electric field and what is the magnetic field, and you can develop. And for that, actually, you can develop your own code also directly from Maxwell's equation, just considering all these 6 components, full vectorial components, all the vectorial components you can solve. And nowadays, I think this type of solver, many companies actually they are selling. You can buy them and then you can just use them to solve any structure. That is called FDTD things. And most popular is numerical FDTD. Numerical FDTD. So from there you can just directly solve in time domain. Okay, numerical FDTD tool, and there are some other softwares are there, but this is most famous, and we do have also this license for solving the waveguide structures, etc. And also we are getting few licenses for this course. Also, you will be given some to find some solutions for different type of design aspects understanding. So you need to learn also this thing, FDTD technique. That means you may not need to go how this FDTD algorithm works, but I think for that also you can see any book also, standard books like computational electromagnetics. So there you can get how the algorithms are developed, computational electromagnetics. Books are there, and there are some popular courses are also there. You can just check online courses also, you can check, or our IIT also we offer such course also. You can learn there. I will not discuss that in this course. Rather, I will approach a little bit different way to get some kind of semi-analytical, to proceed with some semi-analytical approach where you can get a feelings of guided modes and the property of the waveguide and some kind of design modeling, useful design and modeling, which is less painful for understanding, but it would be a little bit more approximations based. All right. So now it is clear that FDTD is the relatively accurate solution you're supposed to get, but always for design aspects, circuit related understanding, it is always good if you can develop a semi-analytical solution. Some analytical solution is best. If not, little bit numerical, little bit analytical, and little bit approximation. And if you can come to very close to the accurate results, that is good enough. Okay, that is how waveguide designs are we will be discussing related to waveguide design. Okay, so for that purpose, the first approximation what we will do to get rid of this time dependent part, what we'll do, we have used earlier also, we can say that this B, magnetic induction, D, or whatever you consider H or electric field, all these are actually varying with a e to the power j omega t. Just a single frequency, monochromatic. Because any electromagnetic signal, it is a time dependent. If you just decompose in frequency domain, you can get a multiple frequency bands. But here, those frequency, all this frequency you can again decompose, means it is a kind of harmonics, right? So we will be just restricting ourselves that electric field and magnetic field, they are actually oscillating as a function of time with a single frequency. That's a monochromatic wave. That is the consideration. First consideration is this one. So in that case, if we just substitute in the Maxwell's equation, then we can directly write curl of E, the first equation, curl of E equal to, say, I can write minus j omega B. Okay, and another curl equation I can write from there, that is actually curl of B equal to, say, j omega mu 0 D. Right? So I am just writing D, or you can, here you can write also j omega mu 0 epsilon 0 epsilon r E, you can write. Simply you can write this one means mu 0 epsilon 0 means 1 over c square. You can also write this one, curl of V equal to, say, j omega over c square epsilon r E. So that is the Carl equation we know, and here also mu0 I can take out, and here also I can write E. Whatever, whenever necessary, I can just switch back and forth between E and D or B, but I think B and E is also fine. Clear? We need to know only the relationship. Then just to get rid of this coupling, that both the Carl equation, they involve electric field and magnetic field. Just to decompose them, we take a curl from the both side. If I just try to find out this one, Carl E expression is there, and I'm just writing curl of Carl E. That means both side I'm taking curl. So I can write minus j omega curl of B, rotation vector, curl of B I can write. And then curl of B expression I know in the previous thing. So I can write down again curl of B equal to minus j omega curl of B equal to j omega mu0 T, right? T or epsilon 0 or c square, you can write that. It's not a problem. D you can keep, or epsilon 0 you can take out, and epsilon r you can take out, that's fine. And this thing, whenever I'm just writing the Carl equation like this, and I don't have any time dependent part, just frequency is there. That's why it is called sometimes frequency dependent analysis, frequency domain analysis. Otherwise, it is a time domain analysis. Okay. So frequency domain analysis, if you just take this from the identity of a vector equation, you can write the left hand side. What you can write? You can write this one. So that is known. And then right hand side, I can write omega square, mu0, and D. Mu r you can consider 1, non-magnetic material. Okay, this I can just write down, then maybe equation 2. So 1a, 1b, 1c is there. I just a little bit modified and getting equation 2. Now, let us consider the equation 1c. Divergence D equal to 0, and because you know I have to know what is the value of divergence E. I can get that one from here, this equation. How? Let's see. Divergence of I can write epsilon 0, epsilon r, and E. As I mentioned earlier, that epsilon r is not really easy to take it outside the del if it is not constant as space dependent. Okay, that is actually 0. But if you are just considering this is a space dependent, that means xy dependent is there, dependence is there, then we can write something like that. Epsilon 0, that is constant, can be taken out, and then we can write say whatever the things. So divergence of E epsilon r plus I can write E dot gradient of r. So that is from the vector identity. I can write a scalar and a electric field. If it is there, scalar is means space. It can be space dependent. This can be x, y, z dependent is there. So scalar multiplied by vector. If you are taking divergence, that can be expanded like this, equal to 0. So now you see in this equation I have the divergence equation. In this equation also, if you can find that if epsilon r is not space dependent, this part is 0. Right? So in that case, you know divergence E will be equal to 0. Otherwise, we have to say, okay, epsilon 0 has to be there. So in that case, I can write that divergence of E, that is actually, you are getting epsilon 0 cancel. I can write E dot divergence, E dot gradient epsilon r, that is of course a vector, gradient of a scalar, it will be vector. I can write like this, a minus sign. So this is your expression for divergence E, right? So I have equation 2, and let me define this one is equation 3. If I just substitute equation 3 into equation 2, what I will get? I will get very nice equation. so-called with a little modification, I can write del square E, right, plus this is omega, one more omega will be there, omega square, right, omega square by c square, omega square by c square epsilon r plus del is there, right? So if you are just substituting this one, divergence E, so we can write gradient of, check if I am writing correctly. Is this correct? This is what about my things are saying. Here one E will be there, right? So if you substitute here this one divergence E, here divergence E, so that means I can write del multiplied by divergence E, right? So del multiplied by this term is there, and that is here, and del square this one, and omega square by c square epsilon r E. Is that correct? So this will be your equation 4, right? Any doubt? And this is actually, if you see, if you carefully look into it, general equation where electric field only there in this equation. Okay, and this is called vector wave equation for E field, because this is not complete. Magnetic field is there also. But one thing it is clear, if you can solve electric field, you would directly go back to Maxwell's curl equation and can try to find out your magnetic field. But this is clear that if you know the information of epsilon r, and if you know which frequency you are operating, omega, then this can be actually considered directly as a vector equation, and this vector equation again can be decomposed into 3 scalar equation. Because you know it's a vector. So if you write something like this, something you write that, okay, some a vector, some function is there, that is actually equal to 0. So some vector equal to 0 right hand side means I can find out this a vector x component, I can find out a y component, I can find out z component. If vector itself is 0, I can easily say that individual component will be 0. So from this equation, I can say that whatever I have just written, if this is your vector equation, vector wave equation, I can find what is the x component in the left hand side, what is the y component in the left hand side, and what is the z component in the left hand side. Then I can have 3 different equation, and they can be treated as a scalar equation. If you solve this 3 scalar equation, then you can solve all the 3 components. What is their space dependencies, I can find, and then total solution will be, obviously they will be varying e to the power j omega t. You just multiply this one, e to the power j omega t. X, Y, Z dependence, and at every point, every position, the electric field will be oscillating with e to the power j omega t. Okay, so this is how we should go for solving electric field. And of course, delta epsilon r you have to give. If delta epsilon r is a very well formed analytical form is there, then you can easily solve this part. Then probably you may get an analytical solution for electric field also. But normally that is not also that easy to get, because delta epsilon r may not be, if it is not a step type function, epsilon r is not a step type function, some issue will be there. You need to go for some kind of numerical analysis also. But in this numerical analysis, you don't need to bother about time dependencies. You are just solving frequency domain, one particular frequency, and you are getting the solutions. If you want to know solution for other, then you can actually get other frequency also. You just change the frequency, you get the result. Okay. Any doubt till now? Of course, you can try to find solution for magnetic field also. Vector wave equation for magnetic field in a similar fashion. I think that I will give you as a task. I'm just giving you the result. You can try to find out what would be the, if you can verify that one. If I just start from the curl of curl B, okay, that will be actually equal to j omega mu 0 and epsilon 0, and then you can have curl of D, right? Epsilon r e. D epsilon 0 I have taken out so that I can get omega by c square, this one. So that is the another curl equation. Again, this one you can write curl of divergence B minus grad square B equal to, say, this one. If you just write, you can just simply write same thing, j omega mu 0 epsilon 0 curl of epsilon r e. Obviously, this is actually 0. Divergence B so far, even if it is not 0, because the monopole, magnetic monopoles are not normally exist. That's why it is safe to write divergence B equal to 0. But for very special application, calculation, sometimes people used to consider some value there, because even though magnetic dipole, there is some kind of dimension, people should use that. So all this type of thing we are avoiding here. We know that divergence B equal to 0. So then this will be 0, and then a little bit simplification similar to earlier. We can write down the final equation like this. I'm just writing, you can just check. This one little bit different. It will be omega square by c square epsilon r, and then you have B magnetic field, and then plus delta epsilon r by epsilon r cross curl of B. That will be equal to 0. So this is one equation, and earlier whatever we have written, curl of grad square E plus omega square by c square epsilon r E, that is earlier we have derived, and then we have written here del of E dot epsilon r by epsilon r, that is actually equal to 0. These two equations together, so earlier that equation, what is the number I have given here? That is equation 4. So this is 5. This is actually 4, equation 4, and this is equation 5 I can write. So this 4, 5 together is called vector wave equation. Vector, jointly it is called vector wave equation for any arbitrary dielectric constants equations. Okay. So thing is that this magnetic field and electric field you have decoupled, and you can solve independently for frequency domain. We are just one particular frequency known, then you know this is epsilon r x y z, that is also known. Then you can solve that thing. Okay. Now I will just try to give you some certain idea for our 1D waveguide we considered earlier. That is step type function. Typically, if we just consider with this vector wave equation, what would be the solution there? Okay. So this two equation is the basis. Okay. So for example, if you want to solve a particular waveguide, that can be 1D, that can be 2D waveguide, that can be some kind of modulation, etc. is there in between. So you can use these two equations, and these two equations you can again decompose into 6 different scalar equation: Ex, Ey, Ez, and Bx, By, or Hx, Hy, Hz, Bz. So 6 scalar equation you can find, and you can find the solution for all the 6 components, and then you can find what is the mode profile, what is their effective index, what is the phase velocity for all those modes, and that type of solutions you can also get for any arbitrary delta epsilon r. As long as you know that, you can decompose all these 6 components, you can solve independently, and then you can see the solution. Yeah, the modal distribution and phase constant, and that is actually called, if you solve like that, that is called also full vectorial. And if it is a full vectorial mode solution, if it is a waveguide, you just write mode solution. It can be mode, it may not be mode, but you can get a solution of electric field in the entire space distributed for epsilon r. Okay, now we go back to our previous concept again, the 1D waveguide. So here, this is your NF, this is your NS, and this is your, say, NC, and this is 0, this is D, and this is x-axis, and this is z-axis, and this is your y-axis, right? So this is the consideration I have considered. So in this, I know that in this case, this NF, this one is just constant. NF is constant for x equal to greater than equal to 0, less than equal to D. And NC, here NC is constant for x greater than D. For example, you can consider greater than D. And similarly, NS constant, that is for mathematical analysis purpose, we can say that NS equal to constant, again constant for x less than 0. Okay, this thing we accept first. That is actually called 1D step type waveguide. 1D waveguide with step refractive index, step type refractive index in the core. Okay, now I know that this epsilon r, that can be x, y, z, we know in our vector wave equation, whatever we have derived, right? But in this case, I know that the epsilon r is not changing along x direction. Sorry, is not changing along z direction, is not changing along y direction. So epsilon r is only changing along x direction. So epsilon r, I can write something epsilon r x. Only x dependent variation is there. Consider these steps, right? So I can write epsilon rx. So you can just represent that epsilon r square root of that one. I can just write this one is something like that, n square x, right? And this n square x, I can say that this will be nc square, and this will be nf square, and this will be nss square. I know that. Instead of epsilon r, I can write this one, right? And if I just consider, right, only core region I am considering. So only core region, if I consider that equation, so let me try. Okay, and go back there. Suppose I start this one, just electric field, equation 4. Only core region I want to restrict my solution, right? Then what I can say that in the core region, whenever I'm just writing this epsilon r equal to just core region refractive index, then within the core region, as long as I restrict my solution within 0 to D, then this part is 0, right? X variation is not there. Clear? So in that case, what I will be writing, I can write this, what do you call that? This nf square, that is actually nf square, that this is equal to your 0, right? For just I am restricting myself x for this one. Clear? Now I know that this electric field solution for this 1D waveguide, electric field solution, how it will be looking like. Obviously this electric field will be a function of x and z and t. T dependencies, we know that always this is, as long as I just assume e to the power j omega t, I don't need to bother about that. So I can write electric field has to be only x and z dependencies. Now from our earlier discussion, our earlier knowledge, we consider, suppose the 1D waveguide, we can say that for T like guidance, T mode, we know that this 1D waveguide, we have 0 EY, 0 component will be there, and magnetic field will be HX, 0 or BX, I would write BX or HX, whatever you write, accordingly you can consider BZ. Right? So when I know that only for T mode, only EY component will be there, so I can write this is nothing but AY, EY, XZ. So electric field is function of X and Z. Now from our concept, you know, this is clear, XZ. I need to find what is the X solution and what is the Z solution. This is del square. Del square means I know what is the del square mean. Del square is equivalent to del 2 del x2 plus del 2 del y2 plus del 2 del z2. That is known. But in this case, this part will be 0 because I have considered along y direction, it is infinitely extended. I am considering electric field is not changing at all. So this part I can just rule out for 1D waveguide, del 2 del y2. But since wave can propagate along z direction and can be restricted along x direction, some kind of distribution will be there. So these two we cannot ignore. But there is no problem if I just consider this EY for the T mode, EY x e to the power j omega t minus beta z. I can consider a solution like this for our EY. So it will be x dependent and it will be omega t minus beta z. So you just think you have a waveguide, you have NF and you have NS and you have a NC. I know that for a guided mode, the x direction, our previous discussion, I know that there can be some kind of distribution, something like this, for example, x direction. But whatever this solution, if it is coming out as a mode, the entire distribution, entire shape of the solution, that will be propagating with same phase velocity. Otherwise, that cannot be a mode. That means this part, if I consider the phase velocity is omega by beta, this part also will travel with a omega by beta. This part also will travel with a omega by beta. So even though part of the mode is in the upper cladding and part of the mode in the lower cladding and major part is in the core, but entire shape, how they are traveling along z direction, that depends on its constant phase velocity. So entire 3 region, if they are traveling with same phase velocity, then only that distribution remain intact as it propagates. This profile remain intact and as it propagates, or if it is oscillating as a function of time in the same way, same fashion. If this field is oscillating back and forth plus to minus in certain frequency, this also will be oscillating plus and minus in same frequency. This also will be oscillating in the same frequency. So the idea is that the phase part, I can have x, this region EY x can be some value, x1, maybe s I can write, and this region maybe solution can be EYX, say F, and this region may be EYX, say cover region, I can write, but all these solutions should be associated with the same phase, same frequency, j omega t beta z, right? So I have written that z dependencies is also well known, right? So if I try to write del 2 del z2, what would be the value? Suppose I just try to find out del 2y del z2. What would be the value? That will be actually minus beta square, right? Uy x e to the power j omega t minus beta z, right? So if I just take a partial derivative of Uy component, then this would be the solution, minus beta square. But what would be the del 2 by del z2, sorry, x2? That we don't know. We need to find out Uyx. This we need to solve, how it will be looking like. And this beta square, that has to be solved also. I don't know what is the beta value. So my mission is to find out what is the value, how is the distribution, and what is the value of beta. And I know that a set for a certain distribution of Uyx, you get a certain value of beta. If it is some particular index I put, there also I have to put certain index. So that means particular field distribution will have particular beta. So why I am discussing all this, I assume this solution. Once I assume this solution, the equation previously I have written. So this equation, what about the equation I have written? If core region, this one can be modified. I just put this one as this one, right? So, and put del del z, del del y, so on. Then I can write that del 2 del x2 Uyx. Probably we don't need to put partial derivative once we know that it is actually x dependence is there. So let me write also in a clear terms. I can write something like this: d2 Uyx dx2 plus omega square by c square in f square Eyx plus or minus what is that? Minus beta square Uyx. Is that correct? Equal to 0. The previous equation can be written like that. So whatever equation I have written, curl square del square E plus omega square by c square, sorry, in the core region nf square, right? Nf square E, and then that should be equal to 0. So from this one, I decompose del square, and I also consider del del y equal to 0, and del del z equal to this one. I consider square del 2 del z2, and del 2 x2 I don't know, I'm putting, and this one I'm writing like this. Now I will just a little bit modify this one. What is beta? Beta equal to omega by beta equal to c, right? So that means beta equal to, is that correct? Omega by beta equal to c. Anyone? Respond.
Sir, if beta equals to 2 pi by lambda, then it's okay.
But here in the material medium. So in this case, we write that one beta equal to 2 pi by lambda
N effective.
N effective for a solution, whatever solution comes, right? That beta is constant for 3 different regions. So we can write 2 pi by lambda N effective, or beta equal to, I can write omega by c N effective, right? So beta square equal to omega square by c square N effective square. So this equation I can just modify. Instead of beta square, I can write this one, so that I can get a N effective. N effective square is unknown to me for the moment. I need to solve that. and EYX also unknown to me. So I have only one equation, but I need to solve that one. So that equation can be written as d2 EYX dx2 plus omega square by c square n f square minus n effective square EYX equal to 0. So this is the equation I have written for x less than equal to d greater than equal to 0. Right? So similarly, I can write same equation. Correct me if I am doing something wrong. Omega square by c square, I can write nf square minus ns square. Ns square by n effective square ey x, that is true for x less than 0. This is S, and d2 ey by dx2 plus omega square by c square. I can write n c square minus n effective square ey x equal to 0. That is valid only for x greater than equal to. Okay, if this is equal, you don't need to put here equal sign here, just somewhere. Okay, equal sign is needed because that is true, because that boundary is shared by both the medium. We'll explain that later. This will be D. So I could write down wave equation for 3 medium. I can get a wave solutions here for EYX, solution for EYX here, solution for EYX here. 3 different solutions I will be getting. But 3 different solutions, they should be valid also in the interfaces. So this is these are differential equation. If you solve, you will be getting some constants, and that constants can be found out through the boundary conditions, continuity at the boundary condition. And then we'll be able to find out solution for EY for T mode. Once you find T mode, then we'll try to find out what is the component HX. EY, if you find, you can find for 3 different zones. If you find, then you can find what is HY, HZ. So here actually you just simply second order differential equation you have to solve. And you have to keep in mind that your N effective, you need to know what is the value and what is the distribution of EY. Okay, I just stop here today. If you have any questions, you ask. No question, I stop.
Sir.
Yep.
Sir, in order to solve second order differential equation, it will arrive two constant will arrive. That we'll
see that. We'll just quickly go through that in next class.
Okay,
you can try to solve that constants. Normally, any differential equation, if you solve, some constants will be there. Normally, boundary condition or initial value you put down to find out that constant, right? We'll proceed also same way.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. Fine. Good.